The city says it's going to spend as much as $400 grand to clean up from Friday's massive storm, and it wants to spend even more to fix problem spots like the central underpass that just keeps flooding. News 13's Chris McKee is in the Newsplex with that.
Kim, Friday night our cameras were there when several drivers got up to their necks in water and had to swim to safety. The city says the Central Avenue underpass between 1st and Broadway is now at the top of its must-fix list, but it may be a while before anything changes.
No matter how many cars have flooded in the Central Underpass through the years, some drivers still don't get it.
We know we do have an issue at the Central Underpass.
This was the scene Friday night as another driver tried to head through about 10 feet of water in the underpass. And that was after 4 people went in, stalled their cars, and had to swim to safety.
She told me the water was all coming up through the doors. I thought I was going to be able to throw it in reverse, but it didn't happen.
The city says the underpass floods because it's the last to get pumped to a retaining pond at Lomas and Broadway.
The first priority is to make sure the neighborhoods are drained.
They also haven't spent any money on the underpass in the last decade. Instead, the city plunked $7 million into the retaining pond and bigger drain pipes after a flood in 2006 that did this to Martineztown.
We want to protect private people's property first, residential property, and then we'll clear our roadways.
But now the city finally says it's had enough of the flooded underpass.
We just don't want people driving through there.
They want to rebuild it and have applied for $15 million of federal funding.
If the city doesn't get the federal grant, though, it says it won't be able to pay for the fixes to this underpass. So in the meantime, they're focusing on cheaper things like warning systems on the edges.
We're going to look at methods of advanced warning.
That could mean gates, signs, and flashing lights near the underpass warning people about high water. It may be a year before it's installed, though, so until then,
as soon as we start getting rain and we're seeing backing up into that Central and First, is we're just going to put temporary barricades up and just close off the street.
Now, if the feds approve the $15 million grant to rebuild the underpass, the city would have to pitch in about $3 million of its own money. Fixing the drainage would be just one component of the project. You see this rendering here. It actually shows the final project, which includes raised sidewalks so that people can walk across those train tracks. Kim, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Now, the city also wants to replace the 5 50-year-old pumps at Broadway and Lomas. The water pressure from Friday's storm caused 8 bolted down manholes there to pop off. Newer pumps would have drained all that rain faster. Flooding also damaged Civic Plaza's parking garage, the convention center, and the 4th Street Mall. The rain also damaged UNM's Centennial Library and a lot of materials in it. Water seeped under doors, flowed down the main stairs and into the elevator shafts. About 50 shelves of materials were damaged. The materials have been boxed up, frozen, and shipped to an out-of-state company in an effort to salvage them.
Most of those were government documents, some historic that are unique to New Mexico and just to a government documents collection.
Fans and dehumidifiers have been placed throughout the library in an effort to dry everything else out. It remains closed. The 3 other UNM libraries are open.